I think the biggest and posture. I mean, listen, I didn't know life. I knew life before a cell phone, before a computer, before, people walking around the city with their noses in their phones. And as you and I both know, I mean, listen, I see 25-year-olds now, and I'm not kidding you, who have the postural integrity that I used to see in 40 and 50-year-olds. And listen, I am a firm believer that posture is the new smoking, because it is really, really bad. And in the day, it was, being in practice for 20 years, I've seen a lot of changes. It was unheard of for someone to come to a chiropractor to prevent or to fix something that wasn't painful. And now I'm getting kids in my office going, I look like my grandma. Posture is the key. And, the thing that I often say is money in the bank is teaching people how to sleep properly. And I know there's just a lot of, back and forth about whether or not you should be sleeping on your side with a pillow between your legs, yada, yada, yada. And for me, I think one of the things that I've sort of developed many years ago was just a simple towel exercise, taking 2 towels, placing one under your neck, one under your lower back, laying face up for 20 minutes before bed, and no pillow. And I know it sounds crazy, and people say to me, like I'm in a coffin, and I'm like, yeah, flat on your back. No pillow, support the normal curves of your spine, let the gravity do what it's supposed to do. And I've been doing that since I was young, a teenager for sure. It might have taken me a little while at 6. I don't know that I was the best student, but I definitely did it, in high school and in college when athletics was very important to me. And I think that's one of the single best things that if I teach patients nothing else, I hope that I teach them to restore the normal curves in their spine just by lying on a doggone towel that you can do in any hotel room, anywhere, and just relax.
So you can do it while you're traveling. If you're out of town for work, you can do it in your home. You can do it in your bed. How do you guide someone who's listening now around the world? How do you guide them to know or to tell if they have good posture or not?
The younger generation, you don't have to look very hard. I think it's a new life for, devices. I think it's a little trickier, but ultimately, I think that posture is very telling in most everything you do, particularly if, one of the things that I really enjoy about practicing is my athletes who say to me, Doc, you're not going to believe this, but my athletic performance is improving because to me, that's a chiropractic 102. And since you're asking about it, I'm going to start educating you a little bit more because listen, I get it. Most people coming into the office are very basic knowledge. And as they start to say, I know you're not going to believe this, but I haven't had to use my inhaler since I came into you. And that's the stuff that I really enjoy. And posture related or not, nerve compression, as you know, as I know, causes problems.
It totally does. So now I got 2 things to keeping you look young: posture and sleep.
Other 2 things, proper diet and exercise. And more importantly, and probably the most important, is mental exercise. It's interesting to me because people will say to me often, Doc, you've got this great office. You've got this great staff. You're helping hundreds of people. Why do you continue to learn? And for me, mental exercise is probably the key to longevity. I sound like I'm 100 years old. I'm 47 for crying out loud. But I do. I know people who start thinking, retirement, and then they just get mentally dull and they don't continue to be coached and they don't continue to stretch their thought processes and learn. And I think that that's just a mistake.
Are there any other ways that you wind up working your mind or getting that mental exercise that some of our listeners might be able to take as a gem to add to their process?
Every day, I try to write down 2 different things that I'm grateful for. And, while it seems a little hokey and a little silly, it's literally 3 minutes of my day that gets me to think about things that, you can't use your parents' health more than once, right? So once that's written down, you have to move on to something else. And it almost pushes you to realize how much you have to be grateful for and how much just how many things in your life are just amazing because it's so hard. It's so easy to get caught up in all the negative garbage of what's going on. I'll tell you the other thing that's really helped my mental sort of health, if you will. I have my reading chair on every night, and I read 10 pages of a book. It literally takes me 10 minutes, not even. It's a really great habit.
I love it. And I think we might have actually...
Are you doing that as well?
I do. I am. And I think it might have been from a book that we read in common. So I'm pretty excited to hear that. I do mine in the morning, and I do mine in the morning as a part of my gratitude. I just write them down. I usually do 3. I do one that I'm personally thankful for. I do one that's related to my family that I'm thankful for. And then I do one that's related to my work. So it's super simple. It only takes like 3.5 minutes, and that would depend on the day. For many people in the world, even at 47, they start to think that they're on the back 9 of life, that they need to just let life coast, and that they're going downhill at this point. But in reality, you're just starting to hit the best part of life. This is when you should be able to continue to grow and develop what you're doing, and to pursue the fun of what you want. A lot of the patients that I see in my practice, I'm in the suburbs. So these are the folks that have lived in your neighborhood, and then they had kids and they moved out to my neighborhood, and they raised their kids, and now their kids are off at college and in life. And then they say, gosh, I can't even walk around the block. You wound up focusing so much on your family and on earning in your career or taking care of your family before you wind up taking care of yourself. Some of the reasons carving out just as little as 30 minutes a day into your life for yourself can have such great rewards, looking at down the line and into the future, looking at how your life winds up going, looking at where your activities can go, and more importantly, just the activities, the quality of those activities, so that as you're living life, instead of seeing that things become more difficult in life, like getting out of bed, visiting with your friends, like playing sports, winds up showing massive returns, not just in the short term, right, like day to day, but what you wind up seeing is that by the time you're 20 years into this, your brain, your body, and your life hasn't changed very much.